respect that they deserve. And how do you give them that respect? You don't do it by closing this hospital. You don't do it by selling it to a developer. You don't do it by not giving them the service that they deserve right here in our county. That's what you don't do. How do you give them respect? Keeping this hospital open. You give them the respect by giving them a full-fledged, full-service hospital that they deserve. And you give them the respect by funding this hospital as it should be funded. Our federal government has funded and bailed out car companies and banks and other businesses. We need to get the federal government money where it deserves, right here behind me, right here at this hospital. That's where our federal money needs to be spent, right here. Yes, sir. And they need to hear us.
Here we are again, still fighting for what we shouldn't be fighting for, should be given to us. It was promised to us, we deserve it, and we'll get it. Mr. Shinseki, who's the Secretary of the VA, I invite you to come down. I invite you to come with us. Take the subway from here down to Brooklyn or Manhattan. See how long it takes. We'll even pay your train fare. A couple of weeks ago, the President announced that combat operations had stopped in Iraq. And we lost 2 a couple of days later. Well, I'm here to inform the President and Congress that the combat operations have now begun here at St. Albans for this hospital.
Hi, my name is Tom Holleran. I served with the United States Marine Corps, 1st Marine Division Infantry Regiment, Vietnam. I am here today to support the veterans and the communities to save St. Albans VA Hospital. We need a full-service healthcare facility for our returning veterans as well as our aging veterans. And in particular, we need a facility dedicated for female veterans. This is unacceptable and unfair. So we will continue to demonstrate and we will continue to get the word out until the VA understands that we do not need more housing, we do not need a shopping plaza, we do not need a supermarket or a parking lot. We need a hospital for our veterans. We are dedicated to see that those who have borne the burden of the battle for freedom's sake receive the care that they were promised. Okay, this has to happen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we will get the job done. Thank you.
I had an asthma attack, not that bad because I was able to drive myself here to the hospital. Unbeknownst to me, they didn't have an emergency room. I'm walking in there to the primary care clinic thinking it's an emergency room because I came from another neighborhood. When I moved here, I drove here. I said, oh, good, a VA hospital right in my backyard. And I went in there, and they said, what you doing here? Can't you see what I'm doing here? I can't even talk. I can't hardly breathe. But thank goodness it wasn't that bad. The doctor scolded me for being there. Now I understand why he scolded me. I thought he just started being a mean son of a you-know-what. He was saying to me, you shouldn't have came here. You should have went straight to a hospital. I didn't know that they couldn't help me, but they was able to give me a little air and send me on my way. But if my asthma was worse, I could have died right here, and nobody would have known anything about it. They would have swept it under the covers. So we need a full-service hospital. We need services for female veterans. A lot of veterans will not even say that they're veterans. Because they're embarrassed to say they're veterans, number one. And number two, they use their husband's insurance. Because of the trauma that they had in the military, they don't want to say they're veterans. They can't use the hospital here. We need a full-service hospital. That's what I need. We were told not to say that's what we want. I want some ice cream, but I don't need it. What I need is a full-service hospital with GYN services. GYN services. GYN services. GYN services. That's what I need as a female veteran. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see all of you here this afternoon. I just want you to know that I fully support your efforts to stop the Veterans Administration's ridiculous plan to try to change what we need for this community, to try to dictate a plan for this community that does not respect veterans, does not respect community, is based on things that don't make sense at all, that puts the onus on a person to try to on an outside developer to fight against a community based on a plan that makes no sense, based on a 2000 census that did not include the Iraq War #1 or #2 or the surge or Afghanistan or the fact that we have so many people that have to pay to get services in Manhattan, that have to pay transportation fee. You just heard from Richard and Brother Epps. He had a heart attack living in this community, can't get serviced here. We have men that are in service now. We have men from all over Queens, Long Island, and into the western part of Nassau County that have to go to Manhattan for service. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. We have other communities around the country, with the help of their federal officials, stop these similar stupid plans from the Veterans Administration. I call upon all of our federal officials, but I think you got my point. Before November, before the election, this community should be taken down to Washington, have a meeting by our federal elected officials to stop this plan. We shouldn't have to be out here every weekend. That's a guarantee. That's a promise that should have been made and kept and delivered.
Our VA hospital is very important to us. It's important to this community. It's important to the veterans. We need a full-service hospital. We don't need to have another large complex of people and cars and traffic. We really need to be out every Saturday. We need to talk to everyone. We need to say to our elected officials, they must join in with us, because it's very important that we have a place for veterans. Our veterans give a lot. They keep us safe, and it's time that we repaid them.
We have formed an ad hoc group called UCVCR to fight this EUL process here at St. Albans. The bottom line is, it's not about veterans care. All right, the VA apparently doesn't really care about veterans care. What they care about is helping some developer line his pockets. All right, we need a full-service facility here at St. Albans with an emergency room. All right. The VA is saying that we don't have the numbers. Well, we have the largest amount of veterans in the city of New York, here in the borough of Queens. The county of Nassau has got even more vets than us. But they have no hospital, we have no hospital. It's time for the VA to start recognizing us. We want justice. When we went into the military, we signed a contract with the government that said we would do this, that, and that, and the government said if you do, we will do this, that, and that. Well, we upheld our end. The government is defaulting on their end. So, if it comes down to it, we'll have to sue the government. But whatever it takes, we're going to get a full-service facility here at St. Albans. We're not stopping. We need everyone's support.
I'll tell you a story. When I was a young man graduating from high school, I had to take a physical because I was nominated to the academy. And the place they sent me was to St. Albans. And I went to that hospital and went from place to place within it, and it was a fantastic facility. But we lost it. We lost it. I think part of the problem is so many of our elected officials, and I don't mean to denigrate them in any way, fashion, but they're not veterans. They don't have that visceral feeling, and not necessarily their fault, but that's the fact. The state Senate, we've got 62 people, only 10 of us are veterans. I don't know how many of the 400 some odd congressmen are veterans, but it's fewer probably than ever before. So what is the recourse we have? We have to keep hammering away, not only at this rally, but on all of the subsequent events that will take place and those that have already happened, making it clear that we are people who support many aspects of the Obama health plan, but one of the things not in that plan is no hospital for our veterans. And that belongs here. Our young men and women returning from Iraq and Afghanistan in this county are enormous in number. I'm going to one event later today, a welcome home party of a young man in Flushing returning home from Afghanistan. And many of them are coming home with problems. Physical, stress problems. And where are they going to go? Again, they have to go to Brooklyn. I mean, I have nothing wrong with Fort Hamill. I've been there many times. I was assigned there for a while. I'm on its active duty. But that's not for us. And certainly it's a long haul out to, was it Northport? Yeah. Long haul out there to get the care you need. So I think the logic is clear. The need is obvious. The desire is overwhelming. And we're going to do everything we can to impress upon our elected officials in Washington and wherever we have to go that we not only want to not turn this property into a private development or whatever they want to do with it, but we want this facility to become a full-fledged medical hospital. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. You know, I'm happy to see everybody out here today because we started this fight in this very same spot 2 years ago. And what Steve Epps is not telling you about his heart attack is he had the heart attack while fighting for this very same issue. So that adds a lot of depth and texture to him having the heart attack. You know, the pledge says under God, and it also says with liberty and justice for all. God is not happy about what is going on here. We have a lot of different divisions in our community, but this one thing has united all of us. We have not-for-profits, we have organizing groups, we have different veterans groups, we have people from every ethnicity and every social background out here today. We have to keep moving on. We need you guys to be able to get in touch with Steve Epps, get in touch with Marvin Jeffcoat, get in touch with Miss Scarborough. Where's Miss Scarborough at? We need you guys to make sure you're in touch with them because this is something that has to happen. This is something that digs deeper into just a hospital. I'm not a veteran, but my father was a veteran, my grandfather, and 3 of my uncles, and we lost them all to the wars and conflicts of this country. So the least that I can do, my most reasonable service, is to make sure that I'm committed to the fight that's here right now and right going on. I'm not a Dabo, so I don't have a legacy of my father fighting for this hospital. But I do have a legacy of my parents and the people who have put us on of fighting for this community. So I ask everybody here to make sure that you keep coming out. Make sure that you keep writing the letters and making the phone calls. Make sure you take some money out of your pocket and donate $10 or $15 because it's not cheap. When we started this 2 years ago, we walked 266 miles to Washington, D.C. We're not going to be doing that again. We're going to take buses this time. We're a little wiser, a little smarter, you know, feet are a little flatter. We're not going to be doing that this time, a little older, right? But we did that to show something. We took 8,000 petition signatures and laid them down on K Street where the lobbyists are at to let Congress know that this is not about special interests and this is not about outside money coming into our community. This is about the people who live here and work here. This is about the people who lost people that lived and died in these wars. We need you to keep coming. We thank you for coming out. I thank you for coming out.